All right, my gambling friends, grab a cold drink, sit back, and buckle up. Tonight I'm going to show you exactly how I turned a measly $100 bill into $1,500 playing the doghouse slot. Yep, the one that's spinning right now on autoplay. But hey, watching reels spin without some juicy stories is just plain boring, right? So while this beauty rolls, let me take you back to the craziest night of my gambling life. Picture it, Atlantic City, early 70s. I was younger, bolder, and honestly, a hell of a lot stupider. I had hair slicked back so hard it wouldn't move in a hurricane, and a lucky blazer I wore religiously, convinced it attracted cash. And on this night, boy, I was convinced Lady Luck had her eye on me. It was mid-July, and the whole city felt like one big sweaty palm. I strolled into the Golden Nugget feeling like Sinatra, the sound of slot machines singing all around me. Roulette was my poison back then. Something about watching that little ball dance was mesmerizing. I walked straight up to my favorite table and settled in right between Frankie Two Fists, a former boxer with hands like cinder blocks, and Lucky Linda, an 80-something chain smoker known to curse like a sailor. Now here's the thing about roulette. It's pure luck. But I always thought the universe had plans for me, especially when a gorgeous dealer named Maria stepped in. Folks, I ain't kidding. Maria looked like she walked straight out of a Bond movie. Raven hair, eyes you could drown in, lips redder than roulette chips. And Maria was smiling at me way too much. Suddenly, my bet sizes doubled along with my ego. Frankie nudged me, whispering, "Kid, careful with that charm. You're at a roulette table, not at a singles bar." Did I listen? Of course not. Maria laughed at my dumb jokes, leaned a bit closer every spin, and suddenly I forgot there was anyone else in the room. Then, just as I was about to place my biggest bet, $200 on 17 black, I felt a chill go down my spine. You know that feeling when something bad is right behind you? I turned slightly to see Lucky Linda lowering her sunglasses. "You're toast, Sonny," she mouthed. I barely got time to react before an enormous hand clamped down on my precious family heirlooms. Holy moly, it felt like a vice grip. Standing behind me, towering like a building, was Tony, Maria's boyfriend. Imagine a guy who could bench press a Buick. Now imagine him grabbing your marbles. Yeah, rough night. The whole casino froze. Roulette wheel spinning, nobody breathing. My voice cracking out something pathetic like, "Tony, pal, misunderstanding, man." Tony leaned in and whispered in my ear, deep enough to rattle bones, "Buddy, keep your eyes off my girl, or these jewels of yours are gonna be earrings." Then something insane happened. The roulette ball dropped right onto 17 black. The entire table erupted. $7,000 won in a blink. Tony, in pure shock, let go, thank God, turning his anger into booming laughter. "You lucky devil!" he roared, slapping my back and nearly breaking it. Just as I thought the chaos was over, a guy named Sammy, who I'd barely noticed at the blackjack table earlier, stepped in shouting, "Wait, that's my money!" Everyone turned. Sammy, eyes wild as a raccoon, started ranting how he'd lost a fortune at roulette earlier, convinced Maria rigged the wheel. "Hey!" Tony snarled. "Are you accusing my girl of cheating?" "Absolutely!" Sammy shouted, looking crazier by the second. Suddenly half the casino was taking sides. Maria screaming at Sammy, Sammy screaming at Tony, Tony screaming at everyone. Frankie Two Fists just chuckled, shaking his head and muttering, "Only in Atlantic City." Then Sammy, full of rage and probably whiskey, grabbed my winnings from the table and made a run for it. Yep, $7,000 straight out the door. Tony forgot all about me, storming after Sammy like a freight train. Next thing I know, half the casino is emptying out into the street to watch the chase. Now picture this surreal scene. Sammy sprinting down the boardwalk with stacks of cash flying everywhere. Tony chasing him, Maria screaming, security confused, and me standing dumbfounded, holding what's left of my dignity. Lucky Linda lit another cigarette, cool as ice. You're never seeing that cash again, honey. But fate had one more twist. Sammy ran straight into a hot dog cart. Money exploded everywhere, people scrambling like pigeons after breadcrumbs. Tony tackled Sammy in mustard and relish. Maria shrieking, Sammy crying. Total chaos. Security eventually sorted things out, collecting most of the scattered money, returning it to me with apologies and complimentary drinks. Tony apologized too, wiping mustard off his face, shaking my hand like nothing had happened, promising he'd keep an eye on Maria instead of me from now on. But here's the kicker. Maria quit that night. Turns out she'd had enough of Tony's jealousy. Later, I bumped into her outside having a cigarette alone. We laughed about the madness, and she told me the whole truth. Tony wasn't even her boyfriend anymore. He'd just refused to accept the breakup. She gave me a kiss on the cheek, whispered something about fate, and disappeared into the Atlantic City night forever. I returned to the casino bar, shaking my head, still processing. Frankie patted my shoulder sympathetically. Hey, kid, roulette ain't just a game, it's life. Round and round she goes. Lucky Linda nodded wisely through her cigarette smoke, adding, and sometimes life grabs you by the jewels. Folks, that night taught me more than just watching my back around pretty dealers. It showed me casinos aren't just about winning or losing money. They're about the stories you carry forever, the absurdity, the friendship, the twists of fate. And speaking of twists, look at this. Our doghouse autoplay spins just finished up, and there she is. $1,500, just as promised. How's that for luck? All right, friends, remember to gamble smart, charm responsibly, and never underestimate the power of a jealous ex-boyfriend or a runaway hot dog cart. You might be wondering whatever happened to those unforgettable characters from that wild Atlantic City night. Well, life has a funny way of dealing out its cards. Frankie. Two Fists, my old boxing buddy at the roulette table, eventually left the gambling scene entirely and opened a little boxing gym down by the Jersey Shore. Last I heard, he's training young kids, teaching them discipline, respect, and how to land a clean left hook. He always says he's trading in spinning roulette wheels for spinning punches. Good old Frankie. Lucky Linda, believe it or not, just celebrated her 103rd birthday. Yep, still kicking and smoking like a chimney. Rumor has it she still sneaks into the casino once a month, playing slots on her lucky machine. Third row, fourth from the left. If you ever see a tiny lady in sunglasses, puffing a cigarette and muttering curses in 3 languages, that's Linda, still chasing jackpots like she's 25. Tony, the jealous giant boyfriend. Well, after the hot dog cart fiasco, Tony actually mellowed out. He ended up moving down to Florida, got married to someone other than Maria, and last I checked, he's running a successful seafood restaurant on the beach. Calls it Tony's Crab Shack. No joke. People say Tony's garlic shrimp is better than his chokeholds. I'll take their word for it. And Maria, the dealer who nearly cost me my future family? Funny enough, Maria became a casino pit boss in Vegas, one of the youngest ever promoted. People say she's fair, sharp as a tack, and never lets anyone get too friendly at her tables. Good for Maria. At least now, no one's getting their jewels twisted on her watch. As for Sammy, our wild-eyed cash snatcher, well, he turned his life around in an unexpected way. After getting banned from almost every casino in the city, he wrote a book titled How to Lose a Fortune and Gain Your Soul. Ironically, it became a bestseller, and now Sammy travels the world, giving lectures about responsible gambling. Go figure, right? And me? Well, here I am, still spinning slots and telling wild stories to folks like you. Tonight, the doghouse treated us beautifully, so drinks are on me. Speaking of which, make sure you hit that subscribe button and toss me a thumbs up. It means a lot to an old gambler like me. Stick around, because in my next videos, the stories only get wilder, the wins bigger, and the laughs louder. Until next time, stay lucky, my friends.